My name is Ifeoma. I'm a pastor, lifestyle coach, relationship strategist, training consultant, executive leadership specialist, and author.
My name is Okudi Chibogu, but known on my social media circle as Pastor O.
Pastor O and I worked at the same bank. He was an oga, a boss. I was on second level or so while he was on the 7th or 8th. At that time, I was widowed. Unknown armed men had unalived my husband. Pastor O and I would greet and pass. I remember he was cheerful and had names for everyone. Later, he left for another bank. I did not even notice till one day I was at home when one colleague came to visit me and requested that I should accompany him to someone's child's dedication. In the process, he mentioned the person's name and said he used to work in our bank before moving to another bank. I remembered who he was talking about, but I was reluctant to go because I was not invited. Plus, I was not an outgoing person. But our colleague insisted, so I tagged along. When we got there, we greeted him and his wife. She was such a lovely, unassuming woman. I teased her when I saw the baby, asking her if she noticed that the shape of the baby's head was exactly like his dad's. She feigned shock and jokingly covered her mouth. That should not be loud, lest people hear. Then she rushed to the baby's basket, pulled out a muffler and covered his head. While laughing, she turned to me and said, "Oh yeah, come, I've covered the head now. Let me hand him over to you. At least you can carry him without seeing his big head." And she handed the baby boy over to me. Immediately, a photographer came and took some snapshots of the baby and I. And before I left the venue of the event, the copy was ready. I got home and casually dropped the photo on my TV stand. When people will come to visit me, they will pick it up and ask, "Who is this?" And I would say, "My son," because I felt that was a good response for inquisitive people. Today, that boy is my son. About 6 or 7 years after that child's dedication, that lovely woman went to be with the Lord. My mom and sister were around to visit me in Lagos. I went with them to pay him a condolence visit. When the burial date was fixed, like most of my colleagues I attended, Pastor O was sobbing profusely. It was a painful sight. I was in a hurry to go back to the office as it was a weekday. So I went to him, whispered that he should take it easy, that God will make him happy again. The man just looked at me with a weird look, like he wanted to ask me how possible that was. Me, what was my own? I had consoled him how best I could, and I left. About a year or more after, I got a call. Anyway, it was Pastor O. Without too much details, I will say that he was not in my mind at all. I was still using this Oga eye to see him. Anyway, he said he was coming to visit me, and then he came and he said he was going to come another day, and so on and so forth. And the day he mentioned that God had told him, I said, "Look, hey, don't go there. You're like a big brother to me." And he said, that's even great. Big brother would always treat his younger sister well. The more he tried to come close, the more I thought of matchmaking him with my sister. But you know what? Both of them did not like themselves at that time. But they are bestos today. Hey, no day passes without them talking on phone, no matter where they are. And I thank God though, because if they had liked themselves at that time, I would not have been married to him today. And I'm glad I am. He's a good man.
Our story began in my previous place of work as a colleague in Diamond Bank PLC. I remember being struck by her beauty, her personality, her courage, presence, and confidence. It was clear from the start that there was something special about her. However, there was nothing else. Then, I gave her a name which was Emma Wren. Emma Wren was coined from Maureen, which was her middle name. I was the only one that gave her that name. I later left the bank for another. We occasionally ran into ourselves, maybe at our organized social functions or that of other friends. Following the death of my late wife, at the burial, she was present. I did not notice the presence of many people during the event as I was deeply in emotional pain. But one thing that reminded me of her presence was when she walked up to me on the way to the graveside and said, "You will love and be happy again." This statement angered me as though a knife was pierced into my body. I controlled my anger and allowed it to slide. Long after the burial, we found ourselves talking occasionally. Prior to this time, I thought she was married. It was during talking and chatting that I became aware that she was widowed. As time went by, the pain of the loss of my wife was reducing, and I decided to fast and pray for God's guidance for my future. I was far away in another country, and during that period, I was waiting on the Lord, and suddenly, her image flashed as though she walked past me. Almost immediately, my phone rang, and she was the one. We agreed on a launch date, and from that moment, I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. Looking back, meeting my wife has been one of the most cherished parts of my life. Our journey together has been filled with love, growth, and shared experiences that continue to enrich our lives. I am grateful for the way our paths crossed and for the partnership we built. It's a reminder of how life's most beautiful moments can come from unexpected places and how love can flourish when we remain open and true to ourselves.
We have 4 children together. You know how they say, buy one, get one free? With Pastor O, I got 3 free. It pleased God to give me 3 lovely extra children that I did not go into the labor room for. God made me realize that motherhood is not a labor room thing, but a heart thing. A heart full of love. I love those children. God gave them to me. They are mine. My daughter now has a father and younger siblings. Pastor O's children now have a mother and an older sibling. You see, God doesn't make mistakes. He gave us balance. My daughter looks like him and they both share the same birthday. His daughter also looks like him, but the boys look like me. We are one big, happy, blended family. Both of us are daddy and mommy, and that's it. If we don't tell anyone what I am saying right now, no one would ever know.
Balancing the past with the present has been one of the most important aspects of our marriage. Given that both my wife and I have experienced significant losses, we knew from the beginning that we needed to approach our relationship with care, understanding, and intentionality. We've made a conscious effort to ensure that while we honor our past, our marriage is rooted in the present and built on a foundation that will carry us into the future. We both understand the importance of our past. They've shaped who we are and brought us to where we are today. We don't shy away from thinking about our late spouses or the lives we had before. Instead, we found ways to honor those memories in a way that feels respectful and appropriate. Whether it's sharing stories with each other or remembering important dates, we allow space for our past while ensuring they don't overshadow our present life together. While our pasts are important, we've made a commitment to focus on the present and build a life that reflects our love and partnership. We are intentional about creating new memories, setting goals, and nurturing our relationships daily. This means communicating openly, spending quality time together, and supporting each other's dreams and aspirations. By being present with each other, we ensure that our marriage is built on a foundation of love, trust, and mutual respect.